Sustainability is no longer a buzzword, it's a core strategy for product leaders like Kaila Bryzgalski at Steelcase. If you've ever wondered how sustainability improves product innovation and business success, this discussion is for you. You'll gain insights into real-world practices from Kaila, a leader who's created her role from scratch, making a tangible impact at Steelcase. Together, we'll learn how and why sustainability is not only vital, but also how to integrate it into our product strategy. If you're listening and want to watch our discussion instead, simply go to our YouTube channel. Please search for Product Mastery Now on YouTube. Let's jump in and learn more about sustainable product management right after this.
How can you unlock your full potential as a product manager? We're sharing the product management insights you need. They are based on the 7 research-backed knowledge areas for product mastery. You'll learn to create products customers love, enhance your influence, and elevate your career. Welcome to Product Mastery Now, hosted by Dr. Chad McAllister, product management professor, practitioner, and your guide.
Kaila, thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks, Chad. It's great to be here. Nice to meet you.
Likewise, just before the recording, I was sharing the story when I was a kid that my parents bought a Steelcase sofa. And that was a big deal because they were fond of the brand and they told me how this was going to hold up for many years. So I have some experience with Steelcase as a consumer, at least. I do want to get into this role that came about through your work there. Tell us about this sustainable product management type role and how that evolved.
Well, I am delighted to hear that you have some experience with Steelcase, and it is truly a principle of sustainability, right, to show durability, and hope that we can talk about the impact, the positive impact that sustainability can have on brand. So love to hear that your parents thought highly of Steelcase even back then.
Yep.
Yeah, we've been around Steelcase as a company for over 100 years, so long time, and I would say sustainability has been part of the DNA, or at least people and planet, since the company started. But to your point, this role specifically in marketing with a sustainability focus did not exist before I joined. There's been a sustainability hub and team of many at the company for a long, long time doing amazing work and truly are the subject matter experts. But I would say more and more as we've learned our customers care about sustainability, we've decided to have spokes from that hub into various functions. So not only in marketing, we have spokes in operations and supply management, design, that are all thinking about sustainability day to day. So I am so lucky, first and foremost, to work for a company that has practiced this for a long time and deeply values research, science, insights. And so when I graduated grad school, I negotiated that I really liked marketing, but I also needed to do something with sustainability. So I have product management experience actually in chemicals, and then decided to enhance that experience by getting an MBA with a concentration in sustainable business from University of Colorado in Boulder. And
Not far from me, actually.
Yes. What a great place. Truly kind of at the heart of a sustainability mindset and innovation and entrepreneurship. So feel very grateful to have learned from all the folks out there. But when I joined Steelcase, leadership here was really receptive to my pitch and negotiation that, right, we needed someone to look cross-category, cross-product, that sustainability isn't just a one product initiative, but it is something that's widespread. So long story short, I joined and a position was made within our marketing services, might be called corporate marketing elsewhere, team that looks cross-category, cross-customer vertical, across many different facets to focus on product sustainability.
No, very good. That must be the portfolio manager nature of the title, right? So I guess it's portfolio manager, product sustainability, marketing. In that role, because a lot of organizations don't, I'm not aware of this being a popular sort of job title, organizations certainly have done more with product sustainability, both in terms of what we use to go into products and then thinking about what that means to the brand as well, the marketing aspect. Can you tell us a little bit more just about how the role reaches out to the rest of the organization and how the organization kind of impacts that role too?
Yeah, so we sit in between kind of brand communications, marketing communications, portfolio management. What we have is called a customer vertical marketing team, and actually product development. And then talk about the sustainability hub. And then we even have a corporate ESG impact team. So really neat, again, that cross-category, cross-functional role, really connecting the dots and at the heart of it all, trying to influence all the way downstream into product development, all the way up to how do you communicate it at ESG impact corporate level. I think a lot of people get overwhelmed perhaps by sustainability because there are so many different levels. And I always try to think of it as the layers of sustainability, right? So you've got the highest level, which are impact report, maybe what you communicate in the most simple form of what you care about to your customers and to your stakeholders, investors. And then you come down a level to the product and what are those tangible product stories. And then even below that, what are the data below each product? And when you look at that whole suite of things, I would say a portfolio manager in marketing kind of sits at the heart in the middle, connecting all the way up to the top messaging, all the way down to the product data, and work with everyone in between.
Very good. I have talked to some people in product sort of roles that have had interest in making such a thing exist in their organization, right? Some form of what you're talking about. There's certainly interest in this. So it sounds like Steelcase has had a long history of caring about, we haven't talked about the triple bottom line so much, but you mentioned planet and people before. This aspect of organizations are driven around profit, how we care about people, how we care about the planet. So that sounds like kind of maybe part of the DNA of Steelcase long back. But over your 5 years in this role, how have you just kind of seen it evolve with the organization?
Yeah, so I think, right, I feel very lucky, back to the DNA within Steelcase, their focus on research and insights, having leadership involved and want to see a position like this. And then additionally, having customer demand kind of pulling the need for it. So that's been the trifecta, I think, that has made this role work so well. And so anyone that's looking to maybe start a role like this or create a role like that, I would say, first and foremost, maybe think about what the company, your organization that you work with, what they value. Maybe, heck, read their impact report. I know it's long and cumbersome, or maybe you could use AI or Copilot, summarize it for you. Yes, you got it. And then you could figure out what matters most in their materiality assessment or something like that. And if product design or sustainability is on that materiality spectrum, then it is important. Then I would say, right, talk to your leadership and make a pitch. It's easier to make that pitch, right, if your customer base is asking for more sustainability features in your portfolio or your product. So maybe do some research out there or talk with sales and get some data points. And then it would be easier to create a role like this. I would say, at least within furniture or workspace solutions, this role has just gotten better over the last 5 years. It is truly a, storming, forming, norming situation over the last 5 years.
Well, we just had a technical glitch with video dropping out, but we are back. And if you're watching the video, it's changed because, Kaila, you're now on your phone. But we were talking about just kind of how the role has evolved. And by the way, since we had the break, I could actually stop and think about this. The storming, forming, norming, performing sort of model. I think I said Tuckerman before. It's the Tuckman. And I couldn't remember his first name, but Bruce Tuckman is where this model comes from, so I had to look that up. Nonetheless, tell us, as this role has evolved a little bit, the one aspect I wanted to get into, and feel free to go other directions, but was that interaction, back to kind of your roots in product work, how you're working with product managers and getting ideas from them and kind of influencing the product direction too from a sustainability perspective.
Yeah, totally. I think this is the most fun part of my role. So maybe I'll answer it in two parts. First and foremost, maybe how this role itself is a portfolio manager, and then two, how I interact with other portfolio or product managers. Because I do sit separately from our portfolio management team at Steelcase, but I am adjacent. So, in my role, the portfolio management side of things is managing the green products. And there are a subset of green products or products that have specific differentiated features that we have chosen to go to market with, like our carbon neutral product portfolio. And then there are all of our products, 500 plus globally, that we sell. And some of those have elevated sustainability features. And actually, I am responsible for managing the sustainability attributes or go to market strategy, branding, or the four P's, right, of the sustainability features of those products too. So it's that. And then I would say for new products and product development as well, how do we start to accelerate the development and innovation through sustainability and then market that? So trying to think through existing lifecycle management, 4Ps globally for our products as they exist, and then new products forthcoming. So that's
Okay.
how I manage it. And then for product managers or portfolio managers, I am really there as a guide or a consultant to them as we
Hmm.
ramp up integrating sustainability into their thought process. So just like quality or durability or any other feature of a product, I think it's more and more important for product managers to classify sustainability as something that they consider as well in that feature set. I had a few call to actions that I thought about ahead of this call for product managers. So we talked a little bit about like what impact reports can tell you. I would say that's something that every product manager should read and look at to know where their company stands as far as sustainability and what matters to their stakeholders. You can also do, right, a control F in the impact report and quickly find out if product design and sustainability innovation is something at the heart of what
Mm-hmm.
matters most to the organization. But number two, and probably most important, is start to learn about a life cycle assessment. I'm not sure if everyone is familiar with that, but it is a big, long document and process, right? That people spend their life to be practitioners around trying to study the environmental impacts of a product. And you can probably take a crash course out there on LinkedIn Learning to learn more about what that takes. But find out, right, if your product or products that you manage has a life cycle assessment. And then if not, how do you go out and find maybe a like product or a product category that does to learn about the hotspots that your product maybe isn't that great for the environment. So perhaps it has high global warming potential and a high carbon footprint in the material choice phase. So then it might lead you to innovate and pick different materials that have higher recycled content or other choices down the road. But you can't do anything or think about a strategy until you know where your product stands. So maybe I work with a lot of our product managers to understand our environmental product declarations and life cycle assessments for our products. And maybe that would be a call to action is to figure out, right, if your product does have one and learn from it. And then lastly, as a product manager, right, know your customers, right? Who are you marketing to? And does that subset of customers really care about sustainability? Not all of them might, some of them might. And how do you really target that audience with the product and find that right fit? So I would say I work with product portfolio managers to one, understand sustainability, be a guide and consultant at the highest level again. Two, to help them understand at the product level what a life cycle assessment or environmental product declaration might tell them and seek opportunities to improve. And then three, right, to know the customer that they're trying to market to and really if sustainability is something that they value. And then I would say you're on your way.
Okay. I wonder if there's an example that you can share that might help us see how this works, because it sounds like you have resources to help product managers, product teams understand maybe some alternatives available when we are thinking about the sustainable elements of our product. If we were talking 10, 20 years ago, there would probably be a standard assumption like if we want to be more conscious of the green elements of our product, that's probably going to add 20% to the cost, but there's a customer segment that cares about that. But there's been lots of examples in the last 3, 4, 5 years where we're actually saving costs, right? We're taking green actions and we're still break even or even save costs. And I don't, if you have a good example, that would help. Certainly, foam has been one area that foam has not always been very environmentally friendly, and there's been advancements in that.
Yeah.
But if there's a story of like how you helped product people understand alternatives or take us down some lane that would help us put this together.
Absolutely. Yes. So exciting when you can see a light bulb right go off when you're sitting with a product manager or a team of people. So last spring, actually, we held something called a Sustainable Materials Summit. So it comes back to, right, really valuing science, research insights. And we have people at Steelcase that are dedicated to material science and understanding the best up and coming materials kind of on the market around foam, wood, plastics, metals, things like that.
Hmm.
Maybe the top commodities. So we had a summit where we brought everyone together that would normally be in a product development team. So everyone from quality to safety to engineering to marketing. And they sat kind of in pods where they would consider a product and then a commodity and try to figure out a solution. So we would sit down and talk through the, again, life cycle assessment and figure out where the hotspot was. And so here we knew it was in the material choice. And so the summit started knowing that, but perhaps you could have a summit right around packaging, or you could have end of life solutions and specifically think about different choices there. But this was
Hmm.
around materials. So those teams set out to think about alternatives and different ways that they could either eliminate material or lessen material usage or find alternative material usage. And in fact, foam did come up, and trying to find different alternatives, use less plastics. I think recycled content, increased polypropylene with, or increased recycled content in polypropylene for our top task seating was one of the solutions. And then it comes down to even like sometimes supply chain or material optimization. So how would you consolidate the number of tabletops, right, that we sell? So having less choice and less offcuts and scrap, right, in our production for less tabletop sizes can even be an enhancement in its own right for sustainability. So what I love about it, those quick three examples are three different ways you can innovate and change your product to have more sustainable features. And then you could carry it along all the way, right, to launch a brand message and market it and promote it and really capture the customers that do care about it. And maybe that example of consolidation of a number of tabletop sizes is a good one, because ultimately that will result in cost savings or cost reduction for the company when, like you said, often sustainability choice has been revered as costing more, but in fact, it can be an optimization
Hmm.
play and save the company money.
Right, absolutely. Yeah. So those are good categories to think about, right? That you gave us the materials involved, the packaging, the end of life, recycling, and reuse options available.
Yep.
Good things to trigger thoughts. As you're talking about this, one thing that this is a good time to help me pay for the podcast work here. The opportunity I have is I get to train product managers and also work with product managers in companies at times. And I have a system called the Rapid Product Mastery Experience to help everyone learn 7 foundational blocks to understand how to be a professional product manager. This really is, at least the way I approach this is for people already doing product work and they're wanting to grow their confidence and competence and make sure they fill in maybe some of the holes that they have had along the way. And these 7 areas really do help them become professional product managers. And one of them does involve sustainability. And so as I've been in organizations over the last few years and we talk about this, I run into a couple examples come to mind, which I can't share any names, but where the product managers have done some sustainable type actions when it comes to we're controlling costs and yet we're making our product more environmentally responsible at the same time. And they recognize, oh yeah, we never told marketing about that and we never got that out as part of our story. And like, oh, isn't that interesting that we've seen over time this becoming more on the radar of product people? Like we want products that are more environmentally responsible, but we're not looping back, which is frankly kind of where this whole all started. Maybe I'm too much of a skeptic, but it seemed like originally this started more, how can we convince customers we're doing something good? And it started more from a marketing perspective. Your role is exciting because it sounds like it's really drawing both together. Like, oh, we're doing something that is part of a good story for customers that they would care about. And we're also trying to help product be more conscious of that. Just any comments about the, oh, by the way, I should wrap up so I talked about the training I do. If you want to know about how this will help you, simply go to productmasterynow.com and you'll see information on the rapid product mastery experience. That's productmasterynow.com. Kaila, any comments about your role in helping with drive both influencing product and making sure that comes out in marketing communications as well?
Yeah, maybe back to the fact, right? Like, I think it's a common misunderstanding out there that sustainability and business are kind of at odds. And I think they're truly symbiotic. And I would say that this role in itself is proof point of that, right? Like, the irony is that sustainability means resilience or sustaining right into the future, enduring. And that's probably what most businesses want. And the way that you can do that, right, is make sure that your customers learn from you, understand the value, the benefit that sustainability and having a product like your parents' couch can last a long time for them. And that will save them money too. I
Mm-hmm.
think more and more customers and organizations out there are realizing that they do have a stakeholder, shareholder in the planet themselves. And so they also are going to be looking for carbon savings as a metric themselves. And so if you can help them accelerate that as a value proposition too with your products, that is going to make your proposition and your marketing only stronger, I would say.
Yeah, and to be aware, I think for product people that there's both benefits here, right? That we can make the products better and also attract a consumer base that is conscious about these things. And there's tangents within those market segments. As you're talking, I thought, well, like back to the foam story, maybe our VOCs are lower now because of changes that we've made to our product, and many of us care about that, right? We want our houses to be more friendly to live in, and we care about what their quality is like. And so there's other tangential things to explore as well as product people and make sure that's part of our marketing segment work that we do.
You got it.
So, okay, so I like this role. How have you seen, I suspect there's some arc here at Steelcase that you've seen how this has influenced product over time. The summit sounds like a really good example. I don't know if that was the first time last year or not, but are you seeing this
Yes.
become more of the cadence of product work of let's involve sustainability practices and investigate this as part of our product work?
Yeah, and I think, right, marketing does set the tone. And so if you can articulate the customer persona, the customer need, and if sustainability is considered by a marketing function, it's bound to influence the product and product development more and more. So I think at Steelcase, that's just becoming more prolific. We actually now have a place in our product charters where it is considered the sustainability intention. So we're challenging marketing and portfolio managers to think through, even if that is an answer that no, the customer I'm aiming for does not care about sustainability, at least they're starting to think through it and maybe do some competitive research of what other like products are considering for sustainability. And so they're thinking about it. And I think that's all we can ask. And so because we do have an influence at the beginning, sustainability is now carried through at least the entire product development work all the way to launch. And like I said, like even if it is that, no, we're not going to focus on sustainability for this product, I would say I'm pleased that they even started to consider it again alongside quality,
Hmm.
durability, price, the other things that you would normally consider in marketing.
Yeah, and no doubt some of the practices that you're coming up with do decrease the cost of just the work that we do. Like you said, if we can save some money on packaging that still it happens to be more sustainable, that's a win-win, right? Or save money on not having waste from the manufacturing process, that's a win-win. So, advice for people thinking about this, right? As I said, I have come across people rather recently too that would like to move into a more sustainable sort of role, right? It's personally important to them and they like to help their organization with that. For companies that are listening to this and go, there's probably opportunities that we have that we're missing out on. Any advice for them to how to get started?
Yeah, I would say, well, this comes maybe to the quote that I had picked, and I know we'll get into it, but
We can talk about it now if you want. That's okay.
okay. Well, so one of my favorite quotes is "Nothing worth having comes easily" by Teddy Roosevelt. And so sustainability is wild and wicked, and there's a lot of things to understand about it. And furthermore, it's evolving, which makes it fun, but also challenging. And maybe a lot of people I talk to have analysis paralysis and they don't know how
Mm,
to get started. But as a lot of this conversation we've talked about, even if you do work with skeptics on sustainability, there are a lot of different ways that sustainability can be phrased or pitched that aren't necessarily in the environmental vein.
mhm,
And so, right, it's endurance of your company into the future, it's saving inventory cost, or it's optimizing the things that the SKU numbers that you sell, or it's delighting different subset of customers that you might not have tapped into differently before. There are a lot of different ways that you can pitch sustainability. So I would challenge, one, to not be afraid to start, and two, if you feel like you have skeptics in the company to pursue this, there are different ways to phrase sustainability and still get the
right,
job done.
right.
There's so many good resources out there. I think the fun part about this is that most people in this profession are wanting more and more people to join because we just understand how big of a effort and problem this is to solve. So there are great best practices out there. I think of HBR has some articles on product sustainability and different types of resonance, dissonance, independence strategies, right, that you can
Mm.
market your product with. So maybe research those because there's so many things out there. Search up and down your value chain, right, too. So your suppliers or your customers might actually have information how to get started. And not only can you learn something, but you might actually strengthen a relationship up and down that value chain too if you reach out.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I appreciate the different perspectives, right? I fully admit I am a capitalist and appreciate the ability of having an economy where you can start a company and create value. But that triple bottom line is a real thing, right? That we need all three elements. And if there's no profit, we can't keep taking care of the employees or our customers. If we're not taking care of the people, we don't have the employees and customers. And if we're not conscious of the planet aspects, people are not going to like the work that we're doing. So the
Well
three do
said.
come together pretty importantly, right? Even from a capitalist perspective. And as you said, you can find messages in there to help get people on board a sustainability perspective and how that is going to help the customers and help how we can help the customers and how it's going to help the organization. So I like the perspectives a lot. Okay, and the quote you shared, love that too. Nothing worth having comes easy. So this does take some work, but it's worthwhile to do. For people that want to find out more about you, maybe just look at your LinkedIn profile, I guess, see kind of your journey through this. But what do you want to share about you and your company?
I would say take a look at Steelcase and our products sustainability landing page or sustainable products landing page. You can see this work in action. So, right, a lot of this back to capitalism, you have to be able to tell your story and sell it. And so, if
Hmm.
you take a look at that page, you can see this in action. All of the products that have something to tell about sustainability is on that landing page and seeks to answer the question, what is Steelcase's most sustainable product? A very hard question to answer, but we're trying to do that. And then maybe if you're listening to this and you have a backache, you might consider looking at our Steelcase store and buying a ergonomic task chair, and maybe you make that carbon neutral too.
Fantastic. I'll make sure those links are in the resources as well. Kaila, thank you so much for joining us and helping us to think about how sustainability fits into our product work. And maybe we're already doing something that we should make sure marketing is aware of as well. So.
You are so welcome, and has been a pleasure. And yes, I think every role is a sustainability role.
Fantastic. Thanks for all the information. And listeners, if you want to find the written version of everything we discussed, including those links to resources, and maybe your next Steelcase ergonomically correct chair, simply go to productmasterynow.com/536. As always, keep innovating.
Thank you for listening to Product Mastery Now, where product leaders and managers gain product mastery through practical knowledge, influence, and confidence. By listening, you are becoming a product master, creating products customers love. Find additional resources at productmasterynow.com. Keep innovating.